What makes you angry? Yeah. What makes the steam come out of both of your ears and get you all frazzled and upset? And what makes you lose control? But also, when you get angry, are you able to now control what seeks to control you? Let's talk about it today on In the Mix. We're talking about the danger of anger, how to control what makes you lose control, right here on In the Mix. That's right. We're talking about it today. We're on the hot seat today. We got to be real. We can't run from it. We got to be transparent if we're going to move into transformation. What makes you lose control? What controls you that makes you lose control? What do you do when you get angry? We all get angry about something. We all get angry about something. How do we turn that anger into action, though? And we're going to talk about that. We're going to tackle it because it is what James Baldwin said. He said to be black in America and to be relatively conscious is to be in a rage almost all the time. There is righteous indignation. And here's the thing, it ought to upset you when people don't have enough resources for food. It ought to upset you when SNAP benefits are snipped. It ought to upset you when there is a divide between the haves and the have-nots, and the rich get richer, the poor get poor. It ought to upset you when people are mistreated, right? It ought to upset you when someone, their life is taken, act of violence. But there's another level of anger that now, to a certain degree, makes our blood boil, where you see people with road rage. You see people mistreat other individuals. You see people who, in a snap of a moment, they lose it. They say something in 10 seconds that now destroys a relationship that was connected for 10 years. They do something to where they just totally lose it. And if we don't get control over it, it's going to control us. So how do we handle anger? How do we handle this emotion? How do we handle this heat wave that oftentimes takes place in our body, to where we're dealing with this level of emotion that just rises up on the inside of us? Something triggers it. Something that may have been traumatic. Something that now moves you from 0 to 100 real quick. This chemical reaction, some people may say it is. But it also has to move into a place of a heart posture. And number one, we have to feel our feelings. Got to feel your feelings. You have to address it. You got to address whatever it is that's going on. For instance, I often mentor our young brothers, and I'm mentoring a particular young man right now who has some issues with his parents, and his parents have, expressed to me that, he is trying to do everything that he wants to do. He's not listening to them. He's disrespecting them. And he's got an issue because his father's not in his life. His mother, he's now grappling with their relationship, and they're not seeing eye to eye. They're bumping heads oftentimes. And I asked him one particular day, I said, what is really angering you? He said, well, he's bullied at school. And secondly, he's upset because his father is not in his life. And I asked him, I said, how will you handle those situations? Who can you get help from as a resource for bullying? How can you now shift that negative relationship that you have with your father into something positive? I said, you're just going to be angry all your life and take it out on everybody else because your father's not there? I said, you're talking to somebody whose father was not in his life. Do I still have father wounds? Of course. Those things never truly go away. You have to manage it. You have to turn the negative into something that is positive. You have to now use it as motivation. You have to now use it as determination. You have to prove to yourself and the situation that this won't stop anything. You feel the feelings about it, but you're not controlled by your feelings. And you're not controlled by your feelings to where you are now sent to juvenile detention centers or you're in prison because you cannot manage your emotions, because you cannot be cool, calm, and collected under pressure. And here's the thing, you cannot heal it if you continue to conceal it. I have to applaud the young man because he expressed what was angering him. And there are a lot of people who will not go down to the depth of who it is that they are and tap into the anger and the source of why that anger is there. And then they won't even remediate it. They'll just say, this is who I am. This is how I am. This is how it's going to be. That's not the way that you're supposed to live your life, because now you live your life being a victim rather than now shifting from victimhood into victory. You got to feel your feelings. You got to lean into it. You got to say, all right, this is my pain point right here. I got to take the mask off of what it is that I'm dealing with. Why is it that you always act this way? Why is it that you always respond like this? Why are you always reactive rather than responsive? Why are you a thermometer rather than a thermostat? Why are you allowing other people to now shift the environment versus you being an environment shifter? Secondly, here's what you're going to have to do. So we're talking about controlling what controls you, the danger of anger. Anger is just one letter away from danger, folks. It's just one letter away from danger. Scripture says, be angry and sin not. Be angry, but don't sin as a result of it. Don't afflict and don't hurt. Don't harm other people. Matter of fact, don't harm yourself in the process. Feel it, but do something with it. Shift that anger into action. There ought to be something that angers you as to why now you're bringing transformation. Why do I mentor our young brothers? Because it makes me angry to see them go to jail. Why do I mentor our young brothers? Because it makes me angry to see how they're now in between illiteracy and incarceration. Why do I mentor our brothers? Because it hurts my heart to see them losing their lives to being victims of gun violence, throwing away their potential. That angered me, right? But I was able to turn that anger into something better. Turn it into something better. Secondly, what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to temper your temper. Got to temper your temper. All of us have an attitude. Yes, you got an attitude too. Don't act like that. Don't look at me like that. You got an attitude too. But here's what the attitude ought to be. The attitude ought to be one of gratitude. You ought to be thankful for another opportunity. You ought to be thankful for another aspect to your life. You ought to be thankful that you did not react in a particular way that now put somebody in danger and you put you in danger. Temper your temper. I remember there was a guy who walked up to me and he knew my ordeal of overcoming cancer and dealing and battling with stage 4 cancer, losing my hair, my self-confidence, my self-esteem, my will to live, my own father not being there in my life, depression, angst, and anxiety. And I'm in a convenience store some years after coming out of cancer and hadn't seen the guy in who knows how many years. Walks up to me, Didn't even say hello. Didn't say what up though. I'm in a convenience store. He inconveniences me with these words. He says, "I thought you died." Walks up to me, says that. Now, you talk about blood boiling. You talk about going from 0 to 100 real quickly, emotionally. I got so angry. My fist balled up. Listen, y'all, I was getting ready to have a Will Smith, Chris Rock moment. And here it is. I wasn't going to be Chris. I was going to go oops upside that brother's head. Because how dare you say those words to me? I was angry. And that anger was one letter away from danger. And my temperature had skyrocketed. My temper had skyrocketed. That adrenaline rush, oh boy, it was there. If I hadn't got a hold of my emotions, it wouldn't have been pretty. It would have been pretty ugly. I was able to temper my temper even before I had ever discovered those words emotional intelligence and emotional maturity and emotional regulation. I didn't know nothing about that really. All I knew was I better unball my fist or I'm going to do something permanent in a temporary situation. That's what uncontrolled anger leads to. You're doing something permanent in a temporary situation. You're saying something permanent in a temporary situation. People are going to people. Don't allow them to now pigeonhole you into becoming who it is that you're not. But unless you check the patterns, you'll always fall prey to people. What are your patterns? What triggers you? What trips you up? What now moves you into a place to where you're not tempering your temper? One of the fruits of the spirit is temperance. That's one of the fruit of the spirit. The fruit of the spirit, one of them is self-control, temperance, self-control. You're able now to have a cool head. You don't argue with a fool because it's hard to tell who's who. You feel the feelings, you temper your temper. That's what you have to do. Move into a place of self-control. And thirdly, here's what you have to do. You have to shift anger into action. Because of this, I will do that. It just is what it is. Because of this, I will do that. Maybe now the actionable steps are to get counseling. Maybe the actionable steps are to get therapy, go to therapy. Here's another actionable step: forgiveness. Some of us are angry with people who are in the grave and have been in the grave for years. Angry with an ex. They've gone on. They moved on with their life. They've married or divorced. People have gone on. People are sleeping real well at night, and you're still tossing and turning over something that was done 10 years ago, and you act like it just happened 10 minutes ago. That bully who bullied you in middle school and high school and elementary school has gone on with their life, but you're still dealing with the negative effects of the bitterness, and that bitterness has become an abscess. And now here's how it's affecting. It's affecting your heart. It's affecting your mind. It's leading to greater levels of stress. You look stressed. You feel stressed. There's no exuberance to you. There's no vitality to you anymore. It's aging you. Why? Because you have not moved to another stage of development and maturity to shift anger into action. What is it that angers you? And how can people now benefit based upon the healing that you're now stepping into? You can't fight what you refuse to face. You can't heal from what you won't deal with. You can't heal from what you won't deal with. You'll never heal from it if you continue to conceal it. You can't address what you won't confess. And it moves you into that particular place to say, yes, this may have angered me, but I'm going to save somebody in the long run. I'm now going to mentor somebody as a result of it. I'm now going to help other people. When I was hurting, when I was hemorrhaging, when I was limping, now I'm leaping because I did the healing. And it'll always be a danger to you until you address the anger. No need of you being controlled by something that you can control. See, there's a lot of things that are oftentimes out of our control. But there's another level in life to where you can control the controllables. You got it within you. Healing looks good on you. Managing your anger looks good on you so that you don't mismanage the moment. Words don't have a receipt. Neither do your actions. And words fall on deaf ears when actions are seen with wide eyes. Open your eyes. Shift. Shape your reality so that anger doesn't have a hold of you, but you're able to have a hold of it. And you're able to have victory through anger management, not mismanagement. We talk about many of these things, and I shift you from where it is that you are to where you can be in my amazing Eagles community. I want you to join my community. It's where I'm coaching, I'm teaching, I'm training, I'm mentoring. I'm now shifting you into the new version of you 2.0. For you to become who it is that you were always supposed to be. Sometimes it takes somebody having a different perspective to shift you and create a new narrative. It's time to rewrite your story. It's time to rewrite your story from a place of transformation and perseverance, not procrastination, and writing the book and building the business and walking into open doors and shifting to a place to where you're closing the gap between your ideas, your impact, your influence, but also your income. The gap is too wide for many of us. Let's close it. Let me show you how to do that so that you can have a renewed level of you. Right? So actually, you can actually move into a place of transformation. You enjoy who it is that you are. You're able to love your family. You're able to love your life in a greater way. You're able to be less stressed. You're going to be able to be more productive. You're going to be able to streamline your life. The stress level is going to go down. Let me show you how to unpack all of that to shift you from not knowing who it is that you are to being unstoppable, to being unshakable. Takes place. My Eagles community. I want you to join right now. TheEaglesAcademy.com. When you get there, tap the Enroll Now button. Fill out the form. I guarantee you're going to be transformed. Take the quantum leap transformation by stepping into our digital doors of our amazing, transformative online community, the Eagles Academy. Can't wait to see your face in place. Go to theeaglesacademy.com. Tap the Enroll Now button. Fill out the form. I guarantee you're going to be transformed. I know you're transformed by this conversation. Drop a love donation. So much work has to be done in our community, and I am committed to doing it. So many great team members that I've been able to align myself with who have the vision of transforming our community. You can help me do that. You may not necessarily be able to be there physically, but your donation can go there so that we can do the work. Feeding, mentoring, literacy development, dealing with health inequities, building up the community. Drop a love donation. You giving helps me to give in a greater way. On Cash App, $Dr. Eddie Ministries, sow into the vision. Sow into the vision and the mission. Cash App, $Dr. Eddie Ministries, PayPal, info@EddieConnor.com, and then even on Zelle, EddieConnorJr @gmail.com, EddieConnorJr @gmail.com. Links in the chat, links in the description of this video for how and where to give. I appreciate your support, and others do as well, simply because of how you're giving. And there's a grace on your life because of it. Hit that thumbs up button on this video. Hit the like button, the subscribe button. I've been growing your greatness. Help me to grow our channel for change that creates change, that breaks chains. Yes. And even as we've been giving, it angers me when people in my city, like Detroit, are 1 in 4 people are dealing with food insecurity. It angers me with illiteracy, prisons built based on second and third grade reading scores. It angers me with a lack of affordable housing. It angers me with health inequities. It angers me when I see dilapidated communities. But I want to be a problem solver. I want to turn that anger into action. You can help me to do that when you send a love donation. Any amount is going to be a great gift of support. I appreciate you for doing that. Follow me on all social sites at EddieConnorJr, EddieConnorJr. Appreciate your support. Let me know what you thought about the show in the comments below. I hope this one resonated with you. Let me know what you thought about the show in the comments below. You know I got to go. Don't be angry. I'm coming back. But I just want you to know, it's yours truly, Dr. Eddie, your main man, 100 grand, your brother. And I mean that from another mother. Family has been fun, but you know, brother got to run. So I want you to know it's been a privilege and a pleasure, a treat and a treasure, a joy beyond measure. But I want you to remember to keep the faith and believe it's going to be bigger. It's going to be better. It's going to be better. It's going to be brighter. Peace. Whole lot of love. Keep soaring.